Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't compress a vocal, but sometimes there's a better way. If you know exactly what you want to do, sometimes it's better to manually automate things, to manually reduce gain, as you can see on screen now. Remember, this is all a compressor is doing. As you can see on screen now with this gain reduction trace you see on a compressor here. A compressor is just turning it up and down. A compressor is just like having your hand on a volume. I can show you this. A compressor is just like having your hand on a volume control, turning it down, turning it back up, turning it down, turning it back up again. That's what you're looking at here in this gain reduction trace, and that's what compression is doing. Do this very fast, and you can turn a vocal like this, an uncompressed vocal, into a vocal like this, a compressed vocal, a vocal with a smaller dynamic range. We call the difference between the highest bits and the lowest bits dynamic range. So this has a big dynamic range, a big difference between the highest and lowest bits, whereas this has a smaller dynamic range, a smaller distance between the higher and lower bits. In a few moments' time, I'll explain when you should use a compressor, but let me show you when it's best not to in this example here. And that's where we want to do something very specific. If you know exactly what we want to do, if we want to do something very specific, why don't we just draw in this gain reduction manually? Not that much, only minus 1.67 dB, a small amount, but an amount nonetheless. Here, we're reducing the volume of the second word, the dance.
So dance with me.
It's still compression because we're reducing that difference between the highest and the lowest bits. But instead of using a compressor, we're drawing it in manually with automation, automating the volume over time, the gain. And this is the important bit, we know exactly what we want to do. When we know exactly what we want to do, it's easier to draw it in manually. Let me show you this. Let me show you this audibly. Notice after the compression, we're smoothing out the vocal. We're putting less stress on the word, or less of an accent on the word dance.
So dance, so dance, so dance, so dance.
It's not that we're making it better or worse here, we're just making it different. In some situations, maybe we want to stress the word dance more. In other situations, maybe not. Maybe in some mixes, we can afford to have a very dynamic vocal, like this. But in other mixes, it would get lost. If you have a very flattened out mix, maybe we also need a flattened out vocal to compete with other instruments. And so again, it depends. But anyway, when's it better to use a compressor? First of all, long vocal passages, as you can see on screen now. Drawing in that much gain reduction would take forever. I bumped into the chair. Drawing in that much gain reduction, it would take forever. And so that's why we have a compressor, to automate the process, to automate the gain reduction. And not to mention, if we're automating the gain fast, like so, see the gain reduction trace on screen now, that's the volume being turned up and down very fast, as you can see. It's just not practical to draw that in. It's too much gain automation. We could, wherever you see the line going up and down, we could draw that manually, but it would take forever and we'd probably do it wrong. And so if we're taking, say, a vocal like this and converting it into a vocal like this, it's easier to use a compressor. Think of it this way. For doing general broad spoke, not on a bicycle here, in a video. For doing broad stroke compression, reducing dynamic range in general, taking, say, a recorded vocal and just reducing dynamic range, making it appropriate for dance tracks, compressing great. But for doing corrective compression, it's sometimes easier to draw it in manually. For doing corrective compression on a very specific thing that you know you want to change, that's when you might want to draw it in manually. For, say, just generally reducing dynamic range, converting, say, this into something like this, that's when it's better to use a compressor. An idea in your brain via the medium of YouTube. Oh, and I did a course on Groove 3, all about compression. So for more information about compression and for the complete story on compression, attack times, release times, and all the sort of complicated stuff, do see Groove 3. I did a whole course on dynamics and compression. Dynamics is a word. So if you type in compression or dynamics and multiplier or Adam Pollard, that's my name. You'll see the various courses on it. It's more long form, structured, less jibber jabber. Interesting stuff, multiply. Oh, this video is sponsored by me, my website. So if you want various products and things, as you can see on screen now, there'll be a link below. Catch you guys on the flippity flip.